So how's everybody doing out there? So this one's going out to Lindsay and anyone else who might be having problems with number 8 on the review. So this is our big Venn diagram one. So the most important part is making sure that we actually get our Venn diagram set up correctly. So we want to make sure, we look at all the different pieces that's given, make sure we always start with the intersections and kind of work our way out from there, subtracting as we go along. So just to highlight some of the things we've got going on, so we can see that we've got 200 students were randomly selected FCC, and they gave the following information. So we've got 100 students that are taking math, 90 students that are taking English, 110 students are taking science. Then at the same time, we've got 52 students who are taking science and English, 70 students taking science and math, 35 students taking English and math, and then finally 20 students taking all three. So for this one, since math was listed first, I'm going to go ahead and let it be set A in this case, and English was listed second, so I'm going to let English be set B, and then finally science was listed third, so I'm going to let it be set C for this one. So again, what we want to do first is we want to fill in this region where all three of these things occur at the exact same time. So if we look back to what was given, the only thing that talks about where all three occur at the same time are the 20 students that are taking all three. So in this case, we can put our 20 in the center, and that takes care of this part. So next, let's look at the English and math. So let me use a different color here just to kind of help, hopefully. So 35 students are taking English and math. So what that means is this little football shape has to have 35 students in it total. But if we notice, in the orange part, there's already 20 students in there. So that 20 is actually counted as part of that 35. So what we want to do to figure out what's going to go in that white section is to take our 35 minus our 20, and that tells us that 15 are just taking math and English in this case. All right, so now let's look at where English or science and math overlap. So again, let me grab a different color here. Let's try this green. So we've got 70 students are taking science and math. So again, that means in this football shape, we're going to have 70 students total. But again, we've already got 20 in there. So that means there has to be 50 that are just taking math and science. And then finally, our last one, we've got 52 students are taking science and English. So let's get another color here. Let's see, what color do I want? It's gray. So 52 students are taking science and English. So again, that means for this football shape, 52 students total are living there. But again, we've already got 20. So 52 minus 20 is going to give us 32 that live just in the English and science overlap. All right. So now we want to go out to the big circles. So let's start off with the math students. So we've got 100 students are taking math. So again, let me grab a different color here. So let's look at some strange, let's look at this, grab this gold color here, see what it looks like. So we've got 100 students that are taking math. So what that means is this whole entire circle consists of 100 students. But at the moment, we've got 15, 20, and 50 already in there. So we have to subtract that 50, 20, and 15 first from the 100 to figure out how many is just taking math alone. So if I do 50 plus 20 plus 15, 70, I get 85. And then 100 minus 85 tells me that I'm going to have 15 that are just taking math and no other classes. All right, so let's do the same thing now for English. So let's grab this like blue color. So again, the ones in English, there are 90 students who are taking English. But again, that means everything in that circle has to add up to 90. But we've already got 20, 32, and 15. So let's add those together first. So 20 plus 32 plus 15 gives us 5267, it looks like. And so again, there are 90 students total. So if we subtract 90 from 67, we're going to get, looks like 23. So there are 23 students just taking English in this case. So finally, let's do the same thing with science. So let me pick another color here. Let's go for this violet looking color. So again, if we look at this violet color, there's 110 students who are taking science, but again, there's already 50, 20, and 32 in the circle already. So let's first figure out how many there are in the circle. So we got 70. So we've got 102 students that are already in the circle. So again, 110 minus 102 tells us that there are just 8 students who are taking science alone. All right, so we've done a lot of work so far. At this point, we might think we're done, but we're technically not. So the only thing we haven't used yet is the fact that we've surveyed 200 students. So it's possible that there's some students that aren't taking math, English, or science. So we have to check and see how many students have we already accounted for, and any of them that are left over are going to be out in the universal set, and they're going to be the ones that aren't taking any of those 3 classes. So let me get a different color for those guys. So let me use this weird green. So out here is where we're going to put anybody that happens to live in the universal set. So what we want to do is go ahead and add all these numbers together. So 15, 15, 23, 50, 20, 32, and 8. Let's see, so we get 10, 20, 23. So 3, 5, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it looks like we've got 163 students accounted for at the moment. And so since there were supposed to be 200 total, if we do 200 minus 163, looks like there's 37 that are still unaccounted for at the moment. So those are going to be the ones out in the universal set that aren't taking math, English, or science in this case. So Lindsay, I don't know if this was your total question, just kind of setting this up and seeing what you were doing. If I can still go through all the questions too, so I will as well, but we want to make sure that this is definitely what we understand. This is always the tricky part, making sure we get our setup correct. So now that we've got our setup correct, let's take a look at some of the questions. So how many students are taking only math? So when we're talking only math, and that means they're not taking English, not taking science, so we're looking at people that are just in the math circle by themselves. So it looks like we're looking at 15 that are just taking math in this case. All right, so for B, how many students are not taking math? So that's going to be like the same thing as like A complement. So anything that's not in the math circle. So we don't want to count the 15, the 20, and the 50. So those we don't want to include because they are in the math circle. So what we're looking at is we want to calculate the 23 plus the 32 plus the 8 plus the 37 that are living in the universal set. So those are the groups of students that are not taking any kind of math class in this case. So even though I wrote it this way, let me write it this way. I like adding this way better. So you get 10, 20, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it looks like we have 100 students total who are not taking math in this case. All right, so let's look at C. So how many students are taking English or science? So in this case, what we're looking for is any numbers that are in kind of that teal colored circle and that like violet colored circle in this case. So we're looking for that 15, that 23, the 50, the 20, the 32, and the 8. Since this is an OR problem, this is the same thing as union. So we want to include anything that occurs in the English circle plus anything that occurs in the science circle. So again, we're looking at, let me zoom down a little bit here. So 15, 23, 50, 20, 32, and 8. So again, if we add these up, we get 10, 18, 5, 10, 12, 13, 14. So it looks like we have 148 students who are taking English or science in this case. All right, so for D, it's asking how many students are taking only one subject. So that's just going to be the ones on the outside in this case, the people that are either just taking math, just taking English, or just taking science. So in this case, we want to add up the 15, the 23, and the 8. 8 and 8, 16, 2, 3, 4, so 46. So it looks like 46 students total are taking just one subject. And then finally, E, that's what we answered earlier with, how many are in the universal set. So in this case, we saw that there were 37 students in the universal set, or in other words, 37 students who weren't taking any of those 3 classes. So in this case, we're looking at 37. So Lindsay, I hope this helped. If other students look at it, I hope it helps you as well. If there's still more things you had questions about or anything, just let me know and I can either add to this or make another video. So good luck as you're studying. So big exam coming up soon. So I know you guys will do great. So keep up the good work and let me know if you have any questions. So good luck.